Hey everybody, this is Brian here. Today we're going to be talking about things to do in the 24 hours following a massive seizure or if they've clustered together. Once you're awake and that you've kind of dealt with the fact that you're really shaken up, um, I would say find a project so you don't fall into a depressive rut. I think that on the days where I've just kind of sat there reading or playing with my toys or something, or just organizing my CDs, that I ended up, when I was just sitting there in the dark, I ended up kind of with a sense of helplessness and kind of fatalism. Um, yeah. So I would say get out there and get active, but take it easy on yourself also because your body is pretty beaten up from all of the falls and all of the convulsing. Number two on here is going to be add disinfectants such as peroxide to cuts or scrapes to prevent bacteria. And also try to avoid sharp counter corners and hard floors, like wooden floors. Try to pad them, add carpets. The thing we did to our counters was we added like pool noodles and taped them on. I know that's kind of unusual, but at the same time, it actually makes it so if you hit your head off there, um, you don't just bam, you basically you kind of bounce off. But if you have a carpet below, there's some extra padding, and so it's not so bad as just hitting your head on the actual countertop itself. Next up is to wear a hat or a helmet for your head protection. I was actually recommending the crash hat cycling cap the other day, and if you are interested in that, I would recommend checking out my review because that's one of the better project or better products in the market. You know. Number five on here is going to be ready for a reduced appetite. I find a lot of the times when I have a seizure or I'm having an aura that I end up not being hungry during breakfast and I end up eating more around lunchtime and eating like a brunch type thing. So I would say try to eat light and to avoid foods required that make like the stove or requiring making the stove. Sorry. And you know, I think that those things they risk burning your hands, or if you fell, you could burn your face, which would be horrific. So yeah, stay away from those burns and eat light. Don't eat anything high in fat um, or grease. Number number six on here is going to be to take apple cider vinegar uh, to improve your blood chemistry. More importantly, it helped me to reduce my seizure intervals by quite a bit. I've had, 9 to 27 seizures in between, like as an interval between those seizures. And I've only had them grouped together like 4 to 5 apart. So it's really interesting. I'm only having 3 or 4 seizures in an entire month instead of having tons of them, like actually having 8 or 9 instead of just having them be that far apart. Because if I'm having them 4 days apart, you can only imagine there's 30 days in a month, so you can only imagine if I'm having a seizure every 4 days that I'm gonna end up with quite a few. Number seven on here is to keep an eye on your auras in case the seizures are coming in pairs, or such things as random tingling on your back or your scalp. I was thinking that other things like body movements, like body weakness or stuttering, muscle weakness in your legs. Those are things that can actually um, be early seizure symptoms, be auras. Sometimes I've also found, just for me at least, that auras can come a few days in advance. It's not always just that day or the day before. Sometimes I've had auras come about 2 days earlier, and I've actually found them to be quite accurate over the course of the 3 years that I've had this disorder. Let's get on to the next part of the video. Avoid strobe lights that flash, and avoid a strong, bright, um, like things like on TV shows, like, thunderbolts randomly flashing down from the sky in a black and white series, and it just like bam, just hits you in the face with the contrast between the colors, and that can be pretty bad, I think. Um, Also, I think that, as an example for strobe lights, there was that horrible episode of the Pokemon anime series in the 1990s. If you're a little older, you may not remember that because it was after your generation. But in my generation, there was this horrible episode from Japan in the Pokemon series where they basically added a ton of strobe lights representing this electric move coming off a Pokemon called Porygon, and hundreds of kids, not only in Japan but other places, actually went to the hospital too, and they actually got in a shitload of trouble for that. And I don't really watch Pokemon as much because I find that the flashing from the electric moves and other things are just they're just too risky for my eyes. I find sometimes that they actually cause my eyes to wig out and put me in aura mode for seizures. Number 10 on here is going to be to research side effects and medicine cross interactions if you do end up in the hospital, and try to give the pills or the surgeries that they're trying to put you on. I would say try to give those a good amount of thought, so you're not just basically injecting things blind, or not injecting, but ingesting things blindly. I was once prescribed this thing called the vagus nerve stimulator, and I was worried, due to the research my mom had done, that it would actually cause more seizures because it shocks you every couple of hours. And I didn't think that was good, so I didn't get it. There may be other surgical implants, or there may be some procedures or some pills that you're being put on while in the hospital. And I just want to let you know, as I've said in my other videos before this, don't just blindly trust doctors. They're mostly in it for the money. I mean, there's some good people out there, as there is in every profession, but I honestly think don't just blindly trust the doctors and accept whatever they give you. Think, how does this work with my own medication, if you are on any? And think about how that would affect your health and your body, and if you have any health issues, like if you have heart problems. I was just trying to say, if you've had a seizure recently and you end up in the hospital, like taken on an ambulance or something really severe like that, I would say that that really contemplate before you take the prescription. Really contemplate how that's going to interact with your body and your metabolism and the other things you're on. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Anytime I have any more epilepsy advice to give you, I'll be there. And, well, I love you guys because you're you. And I hope that nobody has to go through the pains that I've described in this video. But if you do, I really hope that these things, you know, help mitigate them a little bit, help make them a lot worse. So peace out, everybody, and happy upcoming holidays. Again, I love you all because you're you.